Christine Hillis. I have been dealing with bipolar disorder. It wasn't until a few years ago that I really started to look at myself and understand that there was something going on, and not just that, but there were ways that I could try and manage it. One of the ways that it was definitely put in my face that I needed to manage my emotions better is I train as a boxer. So when I was training to do competitive boxing, it was my coach who first kind of talked to me about the idea of understanding your emotion. So from that point on, one of the biggest things for me has just been self-reflection. I need to know where I'm at in order to know how I'm going to manage throughout the day. So every morning I wake up and I check in with myself and, just say to myself, how you doing today? Like, what's going on? How are you feeling? How are your emotions? Some days I wake up and I'm low and I feel like crap and I don't want to do anything. So I take a deep breath and I say, you know what? Maybe today's one of those days where we're just going to make it through. We're going to try our hardest, not take on too much. There are things that don't have to be prioritized today, So a part of my self-reflection became journaling. So I started to write down some of my thoughts. Sometimes they were about how I was feeling and about some of my moods. Sometimes they were about some of my memories of, some of the not so great things that have happened to me throughout my life. Sometimes they were just about different ideas and perspectives on mental health. I work in mental health. I have a mental health disorder. It's constantly on my mind. So I just started writing about it. And it started out super disorganized and all over the place, but eventually it developed itself into a book. We use mental health disorders as colloquial terms now as well. So I always challenge people when I hear them say, oh, I'm a perfectionist, I'm so OCD. And, it's something that's so in our language and it doesn't sound like a big deal, but for somebody who actually struggles with obsessive compulsive disorder, that's huge. That's so minimizing, because for them, I've had clients with OCD and they take like 4 hours to get ready in the morning, so they miss appointments constantly, even their appointments to have the counseling and get help. So when people make comments like that, I challenge them and say, you can have obsessive compulsive traits or even just compulsive traits, but it doesn't mean that you have OCD. The biggest difference between having a trait of a mental health disorder and actually having a mental health disorder is, as soon as it starts affecting your day-to-day life, that's when it becomes a disorder. You don't know who around you might be struggling. I found that so often when I talk to people about it and about what I'm doing, they're like, oh, like I have this mental health disorder. I have a very close friend of mine, and I didn't realize for the longest time that she had social anxiety disorder. And even I found myself getting frustrated with her because it was, I would plan events and try and get her to come and try and get her to go out with me and all this, and she would always cancel on the last minute or, not show up to things. And eventually when I started to get more into mental health and my own stuff, she shared with me that this was why, that she had the social anxiety disorder and she was never comfortable sharing it, but she knew that people were getting frustrated with her all the time. So it's one of those things that, the more we talk about it, the more we're able to understand it as well, and just making it a comfortable space for people to come forward.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That was amazing. That was wonderful. Thank you.